So we have a new Far Cry game coming out pretty soon. In fact, I believe it comes out in October. I could be wrong on that, but it comes out this year regardless. And with every new Far Cry game that comes out to retail, we get yet another wave of game journalists demanding the game get political. Now, if you remember Far Cry 5, that was the really funny one. And the reason for that is because that game was kind of set in backwoods America. They set it in the country. It was a very rural area. And they demanded, that being the video game journalists, demanded that that game talk about the rise of Trump and all kinds of stuff. And it's like, that's not the story that they wanted to tell. The game ended up being about like a very kind of cultish church and falling in with one of those. Didn't talk about Trump. And there was a legit number of games journalists demanding that they go and rework the game, which was absolutely strange. Obviously, it takes a long time to make big AAA games like Far Cry. That game had to have been conceived well before the rise of Trump. But they still wanted that game to talk about it. It didn't talk about it. So now we get this. Ubisoft insists latest game, insert name, isn't political because they're smart and they want to make money. Right? There's no happy ending to this video though, folks. So they get this here. And the gamer posts this. We ask about the setting of Yara and how Ubisoft is leaning into the themes of fascism, slavery, and martial law with Far Cry 6. Despite chatting with actual Cuban fighters, it told us it doesn't want to make a political statement with the game, which I got to be honest is the way to go. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having political themes in your entertainment. The themes that people don't want are weirdo leftist policies, right? If you want to do a game about a revolution or something, you know, this is obviously going to deal with Cuba. Like, I would say, yeah, I definitely don't want to live in a place like Cuba, and I don't think others do. We can go ahead and talk about, you know, living in a place like that. But they want to demonize Western politics all the time. That's the big thing to throw down against and trash on, and I'm not really looking for that, and most people aren't either. But, you know, who is looking for America to be trashed and Western politics to be trashed? Games journalists. They love it. So, naturally, they want them to trash us. I wouldn't be surprised if this game gets bad reviews, because if it's going to be trashing on Cuba and the things that have been done in Cuba and the way Cuba became a country, that might turn people off. If you remember, when Cold War came out, this year's Call of Duty, or last year's Call of Duty, I should say, you had the game journalists freaking out because, oh, it's going to make communism look bad. That was a real thing. I know I made a video on it. They talk about how it's lies and communism is a great thing, and it's one of the bestest systems ever. So they were getting all mad because the game was making that look terrible. So they're like, well, we can't have this, and they trashed it. They legit did not like that game. Here's another article right here. Far Cry is political, and I'm tired of Ubisoft pretending it isn't. Ubisoft has been flirting with politics for years, and I wish it would finally commit. So yet another article trashing how Ubisoft tries their best to bring in the most amount of people as possible. So, well, they're taking a political stance, and it's a symbol of cowardice and ignorance, an acknowledgement that Far Cry 6 is perfectly happy to explore the gruesome impact of fascism, guerrilla life, and martial law on a nation of people on the brink of revolution, but instead of engaging with it on a significant level, it gives the player a selection of chaotic weapons and asks them to go have fun. How dare they do that? How dare they want people to have fun?
How dare you?
So we need to take the fun out of Far Cry 6. Like, I like these futuristic looking weapons. So 2 articles now already going after this game for saying they're not going to make some big political statement, that they just want people to have fun. So Ubisoft puts this out. Far Cry 6 director says to fans, "Our story is political." And you see this and you go, oh no. Here's what they put out right here. Let me go over a little bit of this. Now, here's the thing. They talk about, yeah, we're going to get into politics, but it really doesn't sound that bad. Let me go through this. Our story is political. A story about a modern revolution must be. There are hard, relevant discussions in Far Cry 6 about the conditions that led to the rise of fascism in a nation, the cost of imperialism, forced labor, the need for free and fair elections, LGBTQ plus rights, and more within the context of Yara, a fictional island in the Caribbean. My goal was to empower our team to be fearless in the story we were telling, and we worked incredibly hard to do this over the last 5 years. We also tried to be very careful about how we approached our inspirations, which include Cuba, but also other countries around the world that have experienced political revolutions in their histories. In our approach, we made sure to seek creators and collaborations for our team who can speak personally to the history and cultures of the regions we were inspired by. We also brought out experts and consultants to examine the game story multiple times over the course of the project to make sure it was being told with sensitivity. It is not for me to decide if we succeeded, but I can say we absolutely tried. The conversations and research done on the perspectives of those who fought revolutions in late 1950s, early 1960s are beyond are absolutely reflected in our story and characters. But if anyone is seeking a simplified binary political statement, specifically on the current political climate in Cuba, they won't find it. I am from a family that has endured the consequences of revolution. I have debated revolution over the table my entire life. I can only speak for myself, but it is a complex subject that should never be boiled down to one quote. What players will find is a story that's point of view attempts to capture the political complexity of a modern present-day revolution within a fictional context. We have also attempted to tell a story with action, adventure, and heart, but that also isn't afraid to ask hard questions. Far Cry is a brand that in its DNA seeks to have mature, complex themes balanced with levity and humor. One doesn't exist without the other, and we have attempted to achieve this balance with care. My only hope is that we are willing to let the story speak for itself first before forming hard opinions on its political reflections. Thank you for reading. So, what I like it here particularly, and it's kind of sandwiched in, is this paragraph where they talk about how if you're looking for a modern day statement on what's going on in Cuba, you're not going to find it. But what they did here was funny, is they basically told you, we're not going to get into modern politics. We are going to talk about the politics of revolutions in Cuba and stuff like that, but we're not getting into current day politics. And notice they put that down here after putting everything that would get these people excited right here, and then the rest is them explaining like what the game basically is going to be. And once again, it's going to be somewhat apolitical, which I think is funny. So we'll see what happens, but I don't think that this is necessarily a terrible thing, what they're saying here. I think that, if this is just going to be a fun game in a revolution setting, I really don't think that that's that big of a deal. But, as you see here, games journalists, the laziest, most worthless brand of employment in the world, demands that people actually talented and create things listen to them. So games journalists, go away. Nobody wants your opinions. Hopefully Far Cry 6 is good. We'll see. I kind of like these games, so I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. If it's some woke trash, we'll find out soon enough. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that, and subscribe if you're new.